Swelling on record, off record, I still want the act, not the ghost.
Whoa. Ooh, now that's a new intro. Well, hello and welcome to the DC UK podcast. This is season 4 and episode 19. And as always, I'm your host, James Graham. Back on my own, going old school, it seems. Back to the old days of where it was just me on my own, talking to you guys all about DC United. So that's where we're kicking off. We've got some news. We've got the trivia time. We've got the reviews of the previous games. So that's 2 games since the last episode. And then we're going to look ahead to the match this weekend against Philadelphia Union. So hence the show title, I'm feeling lucky. Yeah, it's called a dad pun. I'm sorry. But yeah, let's crack on. Trivia time. Today's question, this week's question. In the first ever game between the two sides of DC United and Philadelphia Union, what was the score? And for a bonus point, who scored for DC United? That is this week's trivia time question. So have a little think about that. And if you've got any guesses or answers and you know the answer, hit them up in the chat if you're watching live, or drop a tweet if you're listening to the show afterwards. But don't just skip to the end and tell me the answer. Don't do that. Just have a nice little wild guess. So that is the trivia time question, and we will reveal the answer at the end of the episode. But let's crack on with some of the news and talking points. So let's hit the theme. So in the news for DC United this last week, we've had Michael Estrada, whose loan deal has been cut short. He hasn't appeared in the first team since Wayne Rooney had taken over. But in the time that he had been at the club, I should say, he had scored 4 goals, made 4 assists, and he played 16 times for the club, made 11 starts. So, in all honesty, contributing to 8 goals in overall, that's not that bad, I want to say. It's pretty decent. It's a shame that Wayne couldn't really find a place in the team for him. I mean, obviously, we've got Taxi. We've got Benteke coming in, Ola Kamara, Jackson Hopkins, Rodriguez, Ravel Morrison, all those players who were all vying for that attacking positions. And when you think about it, Estrada's just on a loan deal, so he's not even an actual proper member of the club. It's kind of makes sense that free up a bit of space, free up an international slot, and we'll see what happens. So good luck to him. He's already found a new team. He is on loan at Cruz Azul in Liga MX. And he's got to get that game time. It is a World Cup year. Ecuador are in the World Cup. They're in the same group as Qatar. So he'll want to make as much of an impact as he can, make sure he's in that World Cup in November. I still can't get over that. Why on earth is it at that time of year? But, corrupt FIFA. What can you say? So, like I said, good luck to Estrada, and hopefully he has a good time in his new team. Other bits of news. Today, Bill Hamid just shared a tweet that there is a video attached to it, and it sounds like and looks like that he's back in training. So I know he's due to have his child next month. But it's great to see him that he's actually back in training. So that'll give some good competition. It'll be interesting to see what happens to one of the other keepers, because that'll mean we'll have Ochoa, Hamid, Romo, and Kempen. I'd like to know what you guys think. it's probably pretty obvious what is going to happen. But what do you think? I mean, for me, I think Kempen will either drop down to Loudon, um, or get released. More likely get released, I think, actually thinking about it. And then Roma will probably spend time at Loudon and get some game time down there. And then it'll be interesting to see who fights it out between Ochoa and Hamid. That's a great couple of keepers that we've got there. Hamid, obviously, form patchy, to say the least. But, Ochoa, great keeper. He made his debut midweek against LAFC, which we'll talk about in a moment. But yeah, it's a good time for defense to have at least two very good keepers. Gives them confidence. It means they can relax a little bit and not have to worry about making too many tackles because they've got someone good in the sticks. Yeah, very, very good. I'm happy about that. Heinz Ike, who got injured against Charlotte, had a scan, and unfortunately he is out for the season, which is a huge shame. Big shame for him. We have had a few defensive injuries. We've got two now that are season ending. Obviously, Brad Smith, our left back, he had his ACL injury earlier on in the season, and now Brendan Heinz Ike is out for the rest of the season. It's something like 4.5 to 6 months out with his foot injury. I know he had quite a major injury last year as well, which kept him out for a couple of months as well. So 2 years on the bounce with two pretty big injuries is not great. Yeah, we'll see. I've just seen in the chat, Stu, hello. Let me know if you got any questions. If you're watching live, just drop them in the chats. Doesn't matter which platform you're watching, Facebook or Twitter or YouTube. Just drop them in the chat. I will see them come through and I will answer them on the episode live. Other bits of news. As I just mentioned, Ochoa made his debut against LAFC, and Victor Paulson made his debut against New England, and he actually made what was it? He actually played the full game. Suddenly lost my thought there because Kim, who decides to pop up in the chat, he's going to be Bristol, as in Bristol, England. Because if you're in Bristol, England, I'm coming down to see you because that's amazing. Well, it depends on what day of the week it is because I'm in Birmingham next week as well. But that's awesome if you're in Bristol, England. You'll enjoy it if you've never been. Bristol's a great city. Usually one of the happiest places in the UK to live in. So you've got that. What else did we have? Probably very big news going into this weekend. Rooney has said it is unlikely that Benteke will make his debut, unfortunately. So Heather, I know you're going to be a bit upset about that one because you've been really looking forward to seeing Benteke come and play, but his visa still hasn't arrived, so it's very unlikely that he'll make his debut this weekend. It'll more than likely be against Atlanta United next weekend on the 28th, which is quite a nice kickoff, 9 p.m. for us in the UK, so no late night on that one. Looking forward to that. Should be great. Might even get in the post-match press conference. We'll see. So that is the news. No other talking points to really go through, so I'll roll the theme. Well, there you go. That was the news. So we're moving on to a bit of an analysis and rundown of the previous two games. So first up, we've got the New England game. It's pretty difficult because we've had two back-to-back defeats, both 1-0, but we've got to go through them, give you guys my point of view because, DC UK is all about the view from this side of the pond. So, yeah, on the road against New England, we got beat 1-0, as I just said. Stats-wise, possession, they had 43.4%. We had 56.6%, so we had a really good amount of possession. They had 20 shots to our 13. So plenty of attacking intent in this game. 7 shots on target for New England, 3 on target for us. We had 3 offsides to 0, and 11 fouls for them, 15 for us. Expected goals, 2.4 to our zero point 0.7. Now, I've seen it in a few different chats and a few different places that, you know, um, there was, what can I say? That it was a bit of a boring game, and we didn't look that great attacking. But to me, the bits I saw, because I watched the game live, stayed up obviously late for that one. Um, I thought we played all right. Defensively, we looked really solid, apart from a couple of times. Well, no, I tell lie. We didn't look hugely solid, especially down the right. We had Emma Boateng, who was a DC United player back in the day, tearing Andy Nahar apart. Unfortunately, he looked not that great defensively. Couldn't keep up with him because Boateng's got some pace on him, and they exploited it very, very well. They exploited both wings, to be fair, because Brandon By looked good down their right. So, and that's where their goal came from. It came from a Brandon By cutback, and Carlos Hill just blasted it into the back of the net. It was a well worked goal. Can't argue with it. Roma wasn't really going to save that one. The pace on it, it was just one of those. But to say that we didn't look like scoring, I think is not doing us any justice, because Petrovic made some fantastic saves. I mean, what can you do? Petrovic had a great game, made some fantastic saves, and on another day, we could have at least got a point out of that one. I think we're lucky not to get the goal in that one. It was just, like I say, on another day, we would have scored in that one, and it's just a shame. For that game, I thought we were going in the right direction, so things are looking good. Also, as I mentioned before, Paulson made his debut, played the full game. I thought he looked decent, covered a lot of ground, managed to get himself booked, which is probably what he's actually paid to do. Get those tackles in, get those tactical fouls in, so stop those counters. I was happy with him. Ravel Morrison looked good in the middle. Again, I'm not going to complain with that one too much. For a first game, wasn't expecting him to play the full 90, but he did. Very, very good. I think he'll win a lot of fans over the next few games, and over the time that he's actually here. He's currently a DP, and I think the aim going into 2023 is going to buy down that DP slot so we can actually get somebody else in 2023. So that'll be very, very cool. I'm just seeing the comments coming in the chat here. Kim just saying about Benteke will know when he's about to get his visa when he boards a plane for Belgium to go pick it up. I mean, that's fair. We just need to keep an eye on the flights from Belgium to DC just to see if there's anything coming in. I don't know whether is there a direct flight. Probably should check with Emma from in the group, which also goes to show if you want to come join us at DC UK, just go to dcunitedkingdom.com/membership. The link is in the description. It's completely free to do so, but you can choose to support us. That goes through to obviously hosting the show, hosting the website, all the good things that go along with it. And if you do become a member, you'll get yourself a nice membership t-shirt as well. If you can become a paid member, that is. Just more comments coming in. Brian Greenberg, that is, also another DC UK member, thinks we're going to beat Filthy. That's his take on Philly Union. Goonaboy, bottom of the East. Toronto next to us now. They're 3 points behind a playoff spot. So, yeah, I mean, this season is pretty much now. Relax. Let's just get what we can. Try our best. And, see where the season takes us. I think the pressure's off us now. Emma, hello. Nice to see you there. Was there a direct flight to DC from Belgium? We'll see. And Brian's just saying, fun group. Yeah, DC UK is a quality group. Lots of great people in there. Lots of great people. Every single one of you is a fantastic person. I love the community that's been built in the group. It is just fantastic. And there is a direct flight. So, Emma, task for you. Just let us know when the next flights from Belgium to DC are. Then we can keep an eye and see whether Benteke arrives in DC on those dates. Let's just have a quick look at the table. We're not getting off the bottom anytime soon because above us is Atlanta United on 29 points. We're on 22, playing the same amount of games. So, the pressure is really, really off us now. We're 11 points off playoffs with 9 games to go. I think we'll be all right. And Tom, who you know from being on this podcast many times, if you're a long time watcher, viewer this week. So, hey Tom. Right, moving on to the game from the midweek, which I definitely didn't stay up for or get up early for. I needed my sleep on that one. 3:30 kickoff in the morning. Didn't fancy it. I've done it before. It knocks me out for the day, and it's a weekday. If it was a weekend, I might have done it. Might have just done it, but not going to do it this time. So Emma's just asking, is Benteke back in Belgium? Well, generally speaking, when it comes to visas, they need to go back to the country that they're from to get their visa or where their passport is held. So doesn't always have to be the case. You can nominate another country from what I've read and what I know. But generally speaking, they'll go back to the country of their passport and get the visa sorted out and then come back, which seems a bit of a strange thing to do considering the way things are at the moment, fuel prices and things like that. You'd think just do it in the country that you're going to work in. I don't know whether that's just me or whether that just makes common sense or if I'm just being a bit too simple about it. But if you can nominate a country, just do it where you're going to be. Brian just says, like Lasso, believe. I mean, there's believing and then there's believing. I'm going to leave that one there. But yeah, LAFC. So again, it was a 1-0 defeat. Unfortunately, they had 51.6% possession to our 38.4%. They had 19 shots to our 12, with 5 on target to our 3, 1 offside apiece. They had 12 fouls to our 17. Expected goals was 2 to 0.6. And then the one stat that I want to obviously bring up and then talk about is yellow cards. LAFC got 1 yellow card. We got 5. So let that just sink in a little bit. We got 5 yellow cards. And Wayne Rooney wanted to comment about this because he was asked about it in the post-match press conference. And obviously Rooney picked up a yellow card as well, so that isn't even listed on there. He said the referee was, in his words, to stop him from getting into trouble. Very strange, which I completely agree with. Looking at the highlights and things, they didn't show every single yellow card. They only showed Ravel Morrison's yellow card and Bobam's second yellow card for Rafael, which, to be fair, the second yellow card was definitely a yellow card. I don't think anyone could argue with that one. But from what you guys have said out there, especially in the TCUK chat, the first yellow card should never have been a yellow card. Yeah, there we go. Goonie Boy, thank you for that. Referee was fraudulent. I'm just trying to find out. The referee is now Rami Tushan. He has previously reffed for us, and he's been awful. There was, I can't remember whether it was in Discord or whether it was in our chat. But he reffed when Rooney was playing, when we played San Jose at home. And yeah, just it couldn't even measure out 10 yards. And I remember that because Rooney measured out 10 yards for him. That's embarrassing that you can't come to 10 to do the 10-yard distance for the free kick to the wall. Yeah, it just baffles me. Ochoa got booked for time wasting in the 59th minute. Time wasting in the 59th minute. 1, why? And 2, the big thing was he didn't get any warning whatsoever. So mm, you'd normally get a warning or two. You look at I don't know whether you guys out there watch I think it was the Liverpool Palace game at the week on Monday night, and the Palace keeper was was taking liberties, I want to say, and using his time wisely to waste that time. Granted, they still drew 1-1, but you know he was getting warned and warned, and he still didn't get booked. Then you look at this game, no warnings and straight booking, and the LAFC keeper, according to Rooney, because again the highlights didn't show it, um, was time wasting shortly after. Got a couple of warnings and still didn't get booked. Consistency is needed in refereeing. Doesn't matter what the type of decision is, as long as it's consistent, then that's fair. If you're a bad ref, be bad for both sides, not just one. So, but then that's MLS refereeing. It's been like that for years. Doesn't feel like it's ever going to change. You know, what can you say? Kim just coming in with Rooney is new at managing, but he's mastered the sly comment during a post-match interview that's impossible to get fined for element. Yes, he has. And he's been at that. He's been doing that for years in his playing career as well. He's always been top notch with his comments. So, other things I wanted to bring up from that game was the fact that Ochoa made his debut, as I mentioned before. For me, in those highlights, he looked great. He's made some fantastic saves. Really good at parrying the ball. Just that one mistake with the goal where he slipped over, which, to be fair, even if he didn't slip, I think they still would have scored, but it just looked worse than it actually was. For the defense, that's going to give them more confidence when you see keeper making those big saves, big time saves. The scoreline could have been worse. On the other hand, it could have been better for us because you look at actually some of the chances that we had. First half, Steve Birnbaum with a header, really good header, great save, headed it down into the ground, skipped it. Keeper made a good save, low down. Taxi Fantas with a really good shot in the second half, drilled from range off the inside of the post, and somehow still didn't go in. So, I think it was a game where we could have been beaten a bit more heavier, but we could have taken something from it. Could have probably just saying Durkin sloppy and a single pass from Vela spit our entire defense. It's a fair point. In the build-up, Durkin did lose the ball. I don't think the pass was that good to him. Granted, he shouldn't have lost the ball, but I think the pass could have been better. Vela, he's always going to split defenses. His vision, the way he can pick out a player is fantastic. So that was always going to be something we needed to keep an eye on. And, that is it. And I'm just saying, I'm in the DC UK chat, over on Twitter, flights from Brussels to DC. So we've got 2 flights tomorrow. Then basically it's 2 flights tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. So if there's any opportunity for Benteke to play on Saturday, he needs to get on a flight from Brussels to DC tomorrow. So he's picked up that visa. That's when we'll know. And I imagine that will be close. And it'll probably be at a bench appearance, I would say. Otherwise, after that, then yeah, it's going to go into the next week. But thank you for that, Emma. I appreciate it. So, other things I wanted to say, like I said, I mentioned about the Funtas, the taxi effort. For me, overall, considering the amount of traveling that the team have done, which I looked on Google Maps, I did it through driving, but obviously it's going to be a bit different. But traveling over 3,000 miles in the last week, which in itself is an ordeal. That's going to tire you out anyway. Cross time zones. So when you think about it, you're going on to Pacific time. So they went up to New England to play in that game, same time zone, which was over 400 miles on the road. Excuse me. Then over to LA, which was like over 3,000 miles. A huge amount of traveling. And then obviously they're coming back. That's going to be. There's so many mileage in this league that there will be some tight legs going into this weekend's game. But Philly are in the same position. So there will be some tight legs, and Philly played a full team in midweek, but I will come on to that in just a moment. Just to kind of wrap up the review of the last couple of games. So a lot of people were expecting a thumping, myself included. I'm not going to lie. I thought we were going to get absolutely trounced this week. I was scared that it was going to be a cricket score. I'm not going to lie. But it wasn't, which is great. So happy days. I think the level of performance that the lads put in, the defensive work, the performance of Ochoa, all those little bits, that how close we were to actually scoring in the last two games as well. The fact that inside of the post, so flipping close. The great saves from both LAFC and in the New England game. It's a matter of time before we get that goal. So hopefully it'll be this weekend, which leads me on to the game against Philly. So a little rundown head-to-head wise against Philadelphia Union, I should say. It's on Saturday evening, 7:30 kickoff Eastern time, 12:30 a.m. UK time. Belgium, it's 1:30 in the morning. Central time will be 6:30, and so on and so forth. You'll just need to work it out from wherever you are in the world. But it is 12:30 British summer time. Head-to-head. We've won 11 of the games. Philly have won 19, and there's been 5 draws. So Philly are ahead of us in this one. Whilst in the previous 2, it's been very even. Philly have won the 10 of the previous 12 games. Ugh. So they're a bit of a bogey side for us at the moment. Obviously, that's including the 7-0 defeat that we had last month, which, if we could not talk about that one anymore, that'd be great. Our recent form, we've lost 9 in the last 13. That's including 2 wins and 2 draws in there as well. Philly have lost their 4th game of the season midweek against 4th away game of the season against Dallas. Oh, sorry, no, I'm reading that wrong. 4th game of the season. They got beat 2-1. 2 of their defeats so far this season have come away, and that is in their last 2 away games. So on the road, they're not doing so well recently. We haven't scored for 4 matches, though, which isn't great. It's the second longest run for us in our history of not scoring, which doesn't look good for Rooney. Let's put it that way. When he was a forward and his team wasn't scoring goals, bit strange, but we'll see what happens this weekend. Our longest run of not scoring in games was 5, and that was back in 2002. And again, that was actually July to August, a similar time of year. Says a lot about the summer months. Whether we take that into consideration or not. So far this season, we typically average around 48% possession. That seems to be creeping up and up and up. Since Rooney's joined, we've had more possession than not. Philadelphia typically have 43% possession, so I expect us to have a bit more than them. Let's put it that way. We can also expect around 28 fouls. 28, 29. We average around 14.4 a game, and Philly average 14.1. Depending on how good the referee is, but that hasn't been announced yet. Could be more. They seem to really like giving fouls against us at the moment. Even really weird ones. Just going thinking back to the game midweek. Ravel Morrison's yellow card. Won the ball. Oh, that was a good, strong tackle. 20, 30 years ago, we would have been applauding that. Wouldn't have got a card. Game would have carried on. But it isn't like that anymore, is it? So hopefully we'll have a strong referee for this game. Hopefully it'll allow the game to flow as well. Again, that's something that I've noticed myself over the course of this season. Because of the referee, the games have always been a bit stop, start. I mean, I see us getting between 25 to 30 fouls a game. And when you think that's a stoppage every 3 to 4 minutes, then you add in the amount of time that the ball is out of play, you're really not getting a long run of actual soccer. It's just playing for about a minute, minute and a half, then there's a foul. The ball might go out for a goal kick. You then have, 5-10 seconds there. It all adds up. It's very strange. I'll keep an eye out for that and see what you guys think out there, whether it is just stop, start, stop, start. But, we shall see. Game, it's being broadcast in the usual places in the USA. So on NBC Sports Washington, on DCUnited.com, and Telecitos. For if you want the Spanish, with Moises Linares and Luciano Emilio. Yeah, nearly went out my head there. That would have been embarrassing. Obviously, if you go on DCUnited.com or NBC Sports Washington, you'll get the lovely Dave Johnson and Devon McTavish. Hopefully, we'll get another shout out because we've been getting a lot of shout outs. I love Dave and Devon for that, giving us the great shout outs every week. Love them. I absolutely love them to bits. For us in the UK, it's been broadcast on Premier Sports 2, which is unfortunately pay-per-view. Well, no, I say pay-per-view, pay TV. I think it's like 10 quid a month, when you grand scheme of things, for what you get with those channels as well. It's actually pretty blooming good. But, I've got VPN. If you need a VPN, there's a little offer link in the description. It all goes again towards supporting DC UK. So if you need a VPN, go out there, get signed up, help us out on that one. Good boy, Dave's a legend. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. I still love that time when he came down to the tailgate when we were out there and just came to say hello. It's just fantastic. What a brilliant time that was. And same with Dev as well when he came down and actually came on the show. Just impromptu. Just fantastic. So, yeah. Philly, I've only scored 4 goals in the previous 6 away games. So, a bit toothless away at the moment. Fingers crossed. Their roster so far, they've got only one DP, and Mikael Ure, who did play against us earlier on in the season. They've got no under 22 initiatives, no Generation Adidas players. Adidas. I can't believe I just said Adidas. Tom and Dave are not going to let that up, are they? Damn it. Never mind. Philadelphia have got 9 homegrown players. So it just shows how strong their youth program is and how much of an emphasis they have on homegrown and the American player, because they've only got 4 internationals. Only 4, which is fantastic. I love that. I love seeing clubs who really want to bring in the youth, bring it all local, and actually make a team that's about the community. And that's what DC is doing as well at the moment. So you've obviously got the Loudoun United. You've got a great academy coming through. You've got loads of great players. The DMV is fantastic for talent. There's so many great clubs out there. Really, really cool. So go and, if you're a young guy or a young person who wants to go and play, go and do it. Go and do it. Did the Union use up all their goals in their boots against TC and Houston? I mean, yeah. I mean, they scored 6 against Houston and obviously 7 against us. So, yeah, fingers crossed that is the case. But they are scoring plenty of goals. They've scored how many this season so far? I mean, the top of the Eastern, they've scored 45 goals in 26 games. So they're averaging nearly 2 a game. They've only conceded 20 overall this season, so it's less than a goal a game. So, yes, they've got a tight defense, obviously. I think it's Andre Blake in goal. Is he still there? Oh, my mind has gone blank. I'm sure he's still there. Rosters. Philly. Oi. Where are you? There we go. Roster. Andre Blake, yes. Yeah, I wasn't gone mad. That's all right then. Other big players that they've got, obviously, young wise, Paxton Harrison, really good player. I think he's fantastic. Who else you got? Jack Elliot. Why do I know that name? Why do I? So he's an English defender, but he's not an international. So obviously he spent quite a bit of time at Philadelphia or in America just in general. He's okay, yeah. So he went to uni in America. Fair enough. Uh, West Virginia. Started his career at Philadelphia, Bethlehem. There you go. That's why I know the name. I'm sure I've seen him on Football Manager. Who else they've got on there? Who I think is actually a pretty good player. Obviously the usuals. I mean, Real's a decent defender. Kai Wagner is a good defender. Forwards. Who they got at the moment? So Chris Donovan, Julian Carranza, who scored that bicycle against us. I was disappointed we didn't actually pick him up because I know I'm sure he was signed as a freebie, wasn't he? I'm sure he was a freebie. No, he was on loan, and then 250k of GAM. I would have liked him. I think it would have been a great player for us. And Tom, based on the Football Manager comment, is just asking, what is your go-to Football Manager team that you don't normally support? It's a very good question. It's generally a bit random, but I'm currently managing Boston United. Bit random, I know, but Boston United, I'm doing it where all the players and all the staff don't have to get work permits. So they are either from UK or Ireland, or they have the second nationality of being either British or Irish. So they don't have to get that work permit. And so far, I've taken them from the Vanarama National North up to I'm currently top of the League Two at the moment, and it's going rather well. Can't argue with it. So, Stew, I should have not nearly snorted my drink out through my nose out. Philly, oi, oi, oi. I'm a simple creature. Yes, you asked you, and we love you for that. If you also laughed at that one, I'd love to know. But it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I'm seeing on Twitter, Jim, who does United Night Out, just doing a nice gif over on Twitter, replying to my "I am live" tweet. I mean, Tom saying start as unemployed with zero experience and accept whoever offers first. I'm not. I like to enjoy my game, but Boston United going from the bottom league to the top is so far been very enjoyable. Loving it. Some cracking players. Keep an eye on the youth. I've got a nice young team coming in. I think I've got the youngest in League Two. I think it's average age of 22 now. Which typically ends up how I do it. So yeah. Anyway, back from foot. I mean, I'm looking forward to FM23 when that comes out. I'll always do my normal save with Middlesbrough and DC United, just to see how that goes. I would love to see MLS Next Pro and USL in FM23. Not sure it'll ever happen, but it will be great. It will be fantastic because I'd love to see when you send a player down to Loudon, them to actually get games rather than just being down there. They just tend to sit there and lose match sharpness, and it kind of becomes a bit pointless having that affiliated club. But there you go. So LAFC, not LAFC, Philadelphia Union. I'm struggling to think of how we're going to do this one. I think we'll finally get that goal, and I think once we get that goal, they'll start becoming a bit more free flowing. If we score first, I'm going to be wild here and say 2-0. I don't think we'll concede. However, if they do score first, then we're going to get beat. And I don't think we'll score. I think our heads will go down, and it's just going to be that little rut that we're in at the moment. But if we can score first, I think we can win 2-0. I think we can do well. We seem to be defensively pretty good. I mean, you look at the last couple of games, we've only conceded one goal. in both those games. The last three, we've conceded 2 overall because we drew 0-0 against New York Red Bulls. So things are getting much better at the back, considering the fact that we've got injuries happening to us left, right, and centre. Yeah, I think 2-0. I want to know what you guys out there think. What are your score predictions out there? Let me know. Hit them up in the chat there. Let's see some coming through. I know Tom. I'm expecting Tom to go with a draw. If Daniel's watching, I'm expecting to see a defeat. Stu, depends how much he's drank. Be good to know. So keep them coming in. Whilst waiting for those score predictions to come in, if you're going to do any, we're going to do some fan questions. So first up, came from over on Instagram, which is from King Jones one underscore on Instagram. Also, his name LJ. He seems to keep coming in with the good old questions. So thank you very much. I love seeing your questions come in. So his question to me was, is it fair to critique Rooney so far? I mean, I think it's always fair to critique someone, because without that critique, how do you improve? You're always going to need something to improve. Nobody's perfect in this day and age. So, yeah, absolutely. My critique is we're not scoring enough. Part of that is down to luck. Part of that is down to confidence. Part of that is down to the fact that I think we seem to be chopping and changing who's seems to be the spearhead of the attacks. And I think that will change once Benteke comes in, because he will be that target man, that player that we will focus on to get those goals. But right now, we've got obviously Kamara, we've got Taxi, we've got Miguel Berry, who seem to be rotating. And I don't think that's good. I think we need to have that consistency there to really help drive the goals through. Berry against New England was on the right, which I was surprised by. I mean, I've seen Kamara play on the wing more than I've seen Berry. So that was a bit of a strange decision for me. So if I'm going to critique Rooney, that's where I'm going to critique him. I'm not going to critique him for the defensive play, because that has been massively improved since he's come in, apart from the Charlotte game where we got trounced 3-0, but we're looking a lot better at the back. And I think that's down to, one, he's probably just said, stop worrying. But I think it's also down to the fact that we've moved away from that 3-back formation to a 4-back formation. For me, that's always more solid. So I'm happy about that. Then you've got your two holding midfield players. One of them seems to be Ravel. More recently, he's been a bit more forwards now that we've got Paulson in. So that's good. So we're seeing more from Ravel. And you look at the last 2 games, he's been actually getting on the edge of the box and actually found some good shots in. I noticed the game against New England. He had a fantastic effort saved from Petrovic. So things are happening up top there. Like I said, it's just going to be a matter of time. So fair to critique, always fair. And as long as it's constructive, then that's fair. If you're critiquing him just for the sake of critiquing him and it's just done to be mean and nasty, then no, I'm not for that. As long as it's constructive and it's done in the right way, where you can take that criticism on board and do something with it, I'm good for it. Stu is going to go for a 4-4 thriller, throw caution to the wind. I mean, that will be entertaining. That will keep me awake. I'm sure it'll keep Emma awake, and I'm sure it'll keep everyone else in the stadium awake. I like that. But let's go for 4-3. Actually, no, 5-3. And yeah, absolutely, and respectful with critiquing. Got to be respectful. Actually, I think that was the word I was looking for. Might need Philly to help us with a couple of own goals, maybe 3. I mean, if that's what to be fair, I don't care how they go in. Once we get goals, I think that's it. But, even if it's a rebound off the arse, I'm going to take it. I mean, if it takes one of those types of goals just to kick things off, yes, please. So, um, but yeah, to wrap that question up, absolutely fair. As long as it's done in a good way, it's respectful, and it's not done in a harsh and just for being nasty's sake. Brian, who's in DCUK, Brian L. It's asking, who stays longer, Rooney or Benteke? Very good question. I mean, you look at Benteke, he's what, 31 now? So he's probably got another 3, maybe 4 years left in him. Rooney's on a contract to the end of next season with an option for 2024. It's actually a tricky one, you know. It's an incredibly tricky. I mean, I would love to see both stay for quite a long time and build and Rooney for build an absolute dynasty here. But this is MLS and this is Rooney. It's probably not going to happen. Rooney will get a good job in England, and that's where I think he deserves to be. And I think he deserves the great jobs. And this will be a great test for him because we are bottom of the league. He had a good time at Derby. Yes, they got relegated, but the way he turned that team around with the cards they got dealt with is fantastic. So he's proved himself in the Championship under incredibly difficult, probably the most difficult circumstances I've ever seen. But another big test is doing it on foreign soil. Yes, it's a club that he's familiar with, but on foreign soil in a different league with a different style of play, different pace of play. That's where he will actually show how good of a manager he is. So, yeah, I mean, if I had to put it down and answer, I would say Benteke. In all honesty, I think he'll stay the longer, but I would love to see them both stay for a long, long time. That'd be great. Stu's just rightly said, Rooney's still laying foundations and building a team. A lot more positive about squad depth already. The playing style will settle with time. Absolutely, 100%. I mean, that hits the nail on the head. You look at this season so far. We start with Lozada, who was playing high press, goal guns blazing, things off the pitch. Probably not great, but that's how it was. Then you look at the fact they got fired. Then we had Chad Ashton, who tried to keep that going, but obviously not quite as much. Still the same formation, but not quite as high a press as it used to be. Then you got Rooney, so the third coach this season with another style of play. New people coming in. We've had plenty of transfers in throughout the summer. It's going to take a while to settle in. So, yeah, things are changing. It's great. And I love where we're going. But yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time just to get used to it. And this winter window is going to be huge for the club. This is the window that will see how the next decade goes. I think that's how important this window is going to be. Not to put any pressure on Sean, Lucy, Dave, and Stuart, who do all the conversations, who do all the background checks, the scouting and everything. But for me, this winter window is what sets us for the next 10 years. If we get this right and we end up 2023 with a bit of success, that will kick things on. If this window goes terrible and we have another bad season next year, that's it. We're going to have another 5-6 years of absolute dross. So, Sean, Lucy, Dave, Stuart, if you're watching or you're listening at any point, we wish you all the best. But this winter window is absolutely critical. So pressure's on, but make us proud. A couple of comments just coming in there. Kim's just agreeing with Stu there. It takes a while to turn around a big ship, and fundamentally, absolutely. You've got to think there's so much to do with the organization from the back end, but also on the pitch as well. There's the ways of play that what have been ingrained in the team in the past 18 months with Ferdinand. Then you've got someone else coming in. Yes, it's Wayne. You're going to respect that. You're going to take everything he says on board. But they will have got used to the way of playing. They got used to high press. The big thing that struck me though was the fact that he said the players aren't fit enough. When you got two managers who said that in a row, that that to me that rings a little bit of an alarm bell. Um, that when you're saying the players aren't fit enough, that they can't last. You got the big one. I think it was against Charlotte when Rooney said after the game that Sami Khedira was getting cramp in the 70th minute. 70th minute. And if it was the 89th minute, yeah, that's fine. But yeah, 70th was a bit early. So hopefully, again, they'll work on that they'll have been working on that fitness and things will pick up from there. But also Kim's just saying that he likes the current changes in the direction. Key is laying it down as a long-term thing. Absolutely. The front office have been saying about having that identity. I mean, obviously, when Hernan came in, they're like, yep, this is the identity we want. Obviously, things didn't work out and they made changes. People complained that they were making changes and why are we doing this? What we said we were going with this identity, this, that, and the other. But we were complaining that they stuck with Ben Olsen for far too long. Now they've made changes. It's good. It's good to see that they're admitting their mistakes and they're going forward. So yeah, I like it. I think it's great. Hopefully Rooney stays with us until at least the end of next year, if not longer. We exercise that option for 2024 and we get some success. To be fair, I don't care whether it's US Open Cup. I'd love to see us make a run in that playoffs next year. You know, hopefully we'll get that just success. For me, success is making the playoffs and getting past that first game. As it stands right now, if we can get to the conference finals, brilliant. If we can win MS Cup, dreamland, absolute dreamland. Just again, Kim, thank you for the comments in the chat. I don't know if we're reading not fit enough the same way as Wayne. In some ways, I think it means players who have some knocks who can't do the 90. Not that players don't have the tank for 90 plus. Yeah, yes and no. I think there'll be players out there who aren't less than 90 minutes who definitely should be. At a minimum, players should be able to last 90 minutes. But if they've got knocks, I'd want that to be known after the game, if that's the reason why they can last 90. It's just that being open and honest aspect of things. So that's what I would expect to see. And I think Rooney is an honest guy. He seems to be. And I know a few members of the front office are quite open and honest as well. And it's refreshing to see. And to be fair, it's actually the English, the new guys who've come in, like Lucy and Sean, who've come in and they've been quite frank about some things. A lot of people think it's smoke and mirrors, but each time I've spoken to Sean, it's been great. I've spoken to Lucy in DMs and she's been great. So I've got no issues with it at all. Again, more chat. I'm loving this. So thank you very much for keeping that chat going. Rooney is a step in the right direction, obviously, but the front office clearly have made too many mistakes. Can we trust them to back Rooney while he's at the club? I think so. I think we've seen that already with Benteke. Rumored transfer fee was £5 million, which for Benteke is actually quite a good price, I thought. And again, that I think will go into the winter window, and that's when we'll see if they really will back him or not. But if there's anybody you're going to back, it's obviously going to be Wayne. He's not going to take any SHIT. Not at all. I mean, we obviously seen him on the pitch and how much passion he has. As long as he brings that to the front office and demands those quality players to come in and make a difference, then absolutely fair. But I believe that he will bring in the youth through the youth, like Jackson Hopkins, who we've seen quite a lot since he's come in. It's great. I love it. I love Jackson. He's been fantastic. Seems to have a great cross on him, a lot of energy. Hopefully he stays for a couple more seasons. He's definitely destined for Europe. Absolutely. What we need for a long run for Rooney at DC is Premier League manager stability. You're like, that's ever going to happen. Oh, good one, Kim. You made me laugh. But that's never going to Never going to happen. I think not fit also equals I want to play Andy Naha and COA for 90 minutes. Yeah. And Naha, I think, is one of those players who can do the 90 minutes, but it needs to be the right conditions. Like, not tough, because obviously the way his knees are, which I was quite surprised to see him against New England. But, obviously he must have had good medicals and good advice from the fitness team and the physios. So, Goody Boys and Ted Cudipietro. Yeah, absolutely. Another great youngster that we've got coming through. And you look at the MLS Next Pro tournaments, the under 16s winning that. We're going to have some great players. Peacock and goal looked fantastic. Really pleased about that. So the youth for DC, as long as we get to keep them and we bring them, keep getting those minutes at Loudon, then bring them through to the first team, I think we're going to have a good few years from the youth. Let's put it that way. There's great talent in the DMV as long as we keep picking those guys up. Alex in Adelaide, good morning to you, sir. Is there anyone at the club that has won the MLS club in the last 10 years? That's a very good question. Miguel Berry? I want to say. Oh no, did he join last year? Right, let's have a look. Let's have a little run through our roster. So, Fletcher playing well with Loudon could be the next one. Yeah, absolutely. Christian Fletcher, yeah, that's a very good shout. Very, very good shout. I'm still going through the list. I'd have to check with Ola Kamara to see whether he actually won one or not, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. I don't. Did Brad Smith win one with Seattle? Ooh. Career stats. Let's have a look. I think he probably did, actually. MLS Cup winners. Sorry, I'm Googling right now. John Kempton. Kim, please. Oh, yes, he did. Flip a neck. Fair play. Well remembered. Oh, my word. But come on. He might have won one, but did he actually play? Right. Right. So Seattle last won MLS Cup in 20. I don't know, years of appearances. So one in 2019 and 2016. So Brad Smith was there for the 2019 one, and he played 25 games that season. So Brad Smith is one of those. Kim, jumping up and down, serious. I mean, come on. John Kempen. I'm just going to shake my head at you. Stu Rooney obviously burst onto the scene as a 16-year-old, spent years at Man United watching young players be developed for the first team. I'd like to think he'd give plenty of chances to those under 16s in the future. Yeah, absolutely. As long as he's still here, then yeah, absolutely. And if he's here in a couple of years' time, I think that's when we'll start seeing those under 16s that are in that tournament starting to come through. Kevin has more rings than I do. I mean, yeah, he's got more rings than a heck of a lot of us. Or any of us that will. Shame. That's pretty good. But yeah, right. This has been great. Absolutely loving the chat. Thank you so much for all of these messages that are coming through. It's been fantastic. But it's come to that time where we have to wrap the show up. But before we do, we need to go to trivia time. So if you joined us later into the show, do not worry. The question was, in the first ever game between Philadelphia and DC United, what was that score? And for a bonus point, who scored for DC United? Well, I'll give you a little moment just to have a little think about that, because the game was back in 2010. I will give you that much. So it was the 10th of April 2010. It was the first ever game between the two sides. So cast your minds back to 12 years ago. What was that score? And if you don't know, I will reveal the answer for you. Because the answer is, I'm just waiting just to see if there's any alerts for the chat. Any alerts? No? I'm gonna reveal the answer in 3, 2, 1. It was a 3-2 defeat. It was I think, flipping neck. Completely forgot who the goal scorers were for Thingamy Bob. Sebastian Leroux, I think it was. For yes, good boy. It was 3-2. Didn't really see whether you came in before or after I said it. But yeah, I think it was Leroux who scored a hat trick for Union. But for DC United, it was Caranta and Jaime Moreno. Two of my favourite players that I've played. Sebastian Leroux, that was it, not Leroux. That's a flipping band name. Oh, those are the days. Leroux with Bulletproof. Check that out. Good tune. Leroux was really good in the MLS. Yeah, he's fantastic. What a player he was. I remember signing him for DC United on Football Manager. Absolutely brilliant. Loved having him in the team. Great player. But yeah, Carranza and Jaime Moreno scorers for DC back in 2010. So there you go. That wraps things up for this week's episode. So thank you very much for joining in. Great in the chat. Loved it to bits. You guys, as always, help make the show what it is. But if you're not a member of DC UK, do come and join us. Just head over to dcunitedkingdom.com/membership. It's up on your screen right now, but it's also in the description. So click the link, completely free. But if you want to support the show in any way, go through. It'll go through to the paid option. You'll also get yourself a t-shirt. I'll get that ordered for you. It'll come with a name and number on the back as well. It's fantastic. All the money goes towards the show. That's it. That's all that happens. So do come and join us. But if there's any other way that you want to come and support us, there is a support button on there that takes you to merchandise, all the good things. If you just want to help donate, I think there's a link for Buy Me a Coffee. You can donate whatever you need to on there. But last but not least, please do subscribe to the channel if you're watching on YouTube. But if you listen to the podcast, please subscribe to the podcast. And if you are on YouTube, give it a thumbs up because it always helps. But once again, thank you very much. If you just want to come and follow me on any of the socials, on Twitter, it's at DC United Kingdom. On Facebook, DC United Kingdom FC, and Instagram, it's DC UK FC. Please come and join in. Instagram is all about the pictures and the stories. Facebook and Twitter tend to get the same sort of stuff, apart from the play-by-play, which is only on Twitter. So come and find me on there. But that's it. Also, just a little shout out for Motoric. I'm not going to cut myself off. I'm not going to do that. But Motoric FC, you'll have seen on my Twitter, they've got a raffle going on. They're basically trying to raise funds for the team. There is a 1999 MLS Cup finals jersey up for grabs. It's a raffle. It is, off the top of my head, $40 for 5 tickets. Let me just confirm that for you guys out there, but please do go and enter. It's all for a great cause. It's supporting a local DC team. $10 for a ticket or $40 for 5 tickets. I'm in. I bought myself 5 tickets, so go and do the same thing. But yeah, once again, thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, whether it's this live, thank you for live viewers. Thank you if you're watching after the fact, if you're into that. But yeah, until next time, Farmers United.
Wildin' on record, off record, I still want the act, not the ghost.